Will help him out. I'm going to vote for him no matter what.
I think people have already made up their minds about him. I think his supporters can't be swayed one way or the other.
An interesting mix of opinions there. Well, let's speak to Kelly Hyman, who's a lawyer and political commentator. Kelly, great to have you with us on the programme. So do you think this is actually going to draw out more voters for Trump and perhaps draw out more voters for the Democrats as well, if they think that Donald Trump is getting more votes because of this?
Well, if you look at recent polls and people were asked if Trump was in fact convicted, could that potentially sway your opinion of him, of whether you decide to vote for him or not? Now, according to the polls, yes, if Trump was convicted, a convicted felon, then that could persuade them. But ultimately, we're going to have to see what happens in the polls in November 2024. That's why it's important for people to get out and vote and let their voice be heard.
Before all of that, though, let's try and do things in a slightly more chronological fashion. And we're expecting him and his lawyers to announce an appeal. What are the likely grounds for that appeal?
Sure. So just for a timing standpoint, the appeal will not happen until he goes through sentencing. And once he's sentenced, then he becomes a convicted felon. And then at that point, they will appeal it. Potentially numerous grounds for appeals. One of the potential grounds is the fact that Trump did not take the witness stand. One of the arguments they could make is because of the questioning that the state was going to ask them. In the U.S., there was a case against Weinstein. A lot of people know him, a high-profile producer, and his conviction was reversed in New York based on the fact that he did not testify allegedly because of the questions asked to him. So I definitely see that one point as well. And then also potentially the jury instructions, certain information. Stormy Daniels is what he testified. It's kind of whatever you have for appeal, you throw it and see what the appellate court's going to do.
Donald Trump has consistently alleged that this process was rigged. We think it's likely that when he goes to the Republican convention 4 days after the sentencing, that he will still be the party's nominee to run for the presidency. So what sort of questions does this raise about how a section of American society views the legal process, the process of law and order and justice?
Right. Well, going back to your point, 4 days after he's convicted, once he is convicted, he can still run for the president of the United States. So that's a really important key thing to, think about. But we live in a democracy, yet a young democracy, and we believe in the rule of law. And this verdict shows that 12 people, based on the facts and the evidence, made a determination and found him guilty. Ultimately, it'll be up to the voters if they want Trump to be in office in 2024 or if they want Biden. But I think it's going to be a crucial factor in our country.
Kelly, thank you very much for your thoughts on this story today. Kelly Hyman, lawyer and political commentator. And just let me tell you that we are expecting that statement made by Donald Trump from Trump Tower in New York at 1600 BST. We will bring that to you later on when it happens.